Hello dear friends, welcome back to my channel NV Biology Tutorial. I am Professor Namrata Burate. In my last video, we see mechanism of fertilization. Today, we are going to continue the next part of second topic, that's embryonic development. And in this video, we will see the first phenomena, that is cleavage. So, let's continue. So, you can see this image. That's a image indicates the embryonic stages, the various sequential events which is occurred at the time of development of the new individual. So, the first one, as there is the formation of the zygote, but this zygote which is formed as a result of the male pronucleus and the female pronucleus, that together it says as the syngamy. After the formation of zygote, it activated to divide. The unicellular zygote undergoes a number of sequential changes to form multicellular individual. The stages which is occurred, it's of the different types of the egg which is seen, the various forms of the stages. The basic pattern of the sequential changes, the first one is zygote. Zygote forms the morula, morula forms the blastula, then gastrula implantation, and there is a formation of the new individual. The zygote forms the morula, that's a phenomena which is occurred. The stage it says as the cleavage. Morula forms the blastula. This says as the blastulation, and the blastula forms the gastrula, that is the formation of the 3 germ layer. The process it says as the gastrulation, and from the gastrula there is a formation of the individual, that is the organogenesis. Means there is the various sequential changes occurred from zygote to the new individual. The first sequential changes which is today we are going to see, that is known as the cleavage. So, before seeing the cleavage, we know about the mitosis division. As you know that the mitosis and the meiosis, these two forms of the cell division is there. But in case of the cleavage, there is a mitosis division is occurred, but this mitosis division, it is slightly different from that of the typical mitosis division. So, first of all, we see what is the difference between the cleavage mitosis and the typical mitosis. That is also says as the ordinarily mitosis. The first one, it occurred in zygote. The cleavage mitosis, it's occurred in zygote, but typical mitosis, it is occurred in most of the body cell. It is a basic difference between the cleavage mitosis and the typical mitosis. Second difference is the interphase is short. Interphase means G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase. These 3 phases which is included in the interphase. So, in the cleavage mitosis, the interphase is short, but here in case of typical mitosis, interphase is the long duration phase. The growth does not occur. It's a most significant phenomena in case of the cleavage mitosis. There is a no growth, but here the growth it occurs. Oxygen consumption is high and a very rapid process, but here in case of typical mitosis, the oxygen consumption is low and it's a slow process. The size of blastomere is decreasing. ये सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है. पहला तो ये है growth does not occur, and the second important point in the cleavage mitosis is that is the size of blastomeres, it goes on decreasing at the time of mitosis division. But here in case of typical mitosis, the size of daughter cell remains same after growth. The DNA synthesis is faster, but in case of typical mitosis, DNA synthesis is slow. The nuclear cytoplasmic ratio is increasing because there is increasing the number of the blastomeres, but here the nuclear cytoplasmic ratio remain same. So this is the basic difference between cleavage mitosis and the typical mitosis. So further part we see, that is what happened in the cleavage. It is the process of early mitotic division of zygote into hollow multicellular blastula. It does not involve growth. अभी हमने देखा कि यहाँ पे क्या होने वाला है, यहाँ पे माइटोसिस डिवीजन हो रही है लेकिन यहाँ पे ग्रोथ नहीं. The growth does not occur. That is the growth of the daughter cell. There is no involvement of the growth. The cell formed by the cleavage, that cell it is known as the blastomeres. जो सेल यहाँ पे फॉर्म हो रही है उस सेल्स को क्या बोला जाता है, उस सेल्स को बोला जाता है blastomeres. The cells which is forms, it says as the blastomere. As there is a no growth phase between the cleavage, the size of blastomere will be reduced. यहाँ पे size देख रहे हैं आप लोग, यहाँ पे size ज़्यादा है लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, साइज कम होती जा रही है, यहाँ पे कम हो रही है, यहाँ पे कम हो रही है, यहाँ पे again there is a decreasing the size of the cells, size of the blastomeres it's reduced because there is a mitotic division it's occurred. As the size is reduced but there is increase the metabolic rate. Because there is increasing the numbers of blastomeres, so the increasing the metabolic rate. Subsequent, the cleavage on the faster than the earlier one. This required repeated replication of DNA and the high consumptions of oxygen. After that, in human, cleavage it's a holoblastic. ये बहुत ज़्यादा important point है यहाँ पे जो क्लीवेज होने वाला है ह्यूमन बींग्स में वो कैसा होता है, it's a holoblastic. It's a holoblastic. So what's a holoblastic? That is the entire or it says as the complete division of egg or the complete division of the zygote is takes place. ये जो यहाँ पे जो zygote होता है ये completely divide होता है. It's a completely divide. This zygote, it's a completely divide, that is says as the holoblastic. But there is a three way of the holoblastic forms of cleavage. The first one it says as the alethicel. First one it says as the alethicel. Alethicel means what? That is says as the yolk is not there, so there is no problem entire about the egg to break. यहाँ पे अलेसिथल में क्या होता है, एलेसिथल में यॉक नहीं होता. यॉक क्या है, यॉक इट्स अ नॉन लिविंग सब्सटेंसेस, इट्स अ नॉन लिविंग मटेरियल, इसलिए यहाँ इसमें एक्टिव डिविजन्स नहीं होती. As there is the absence of yolk in the first type, that is says as the alethicel. In case of alethicel, there is the absence of yolk. The second type which is says as the microlethicel. Second it says as the microlethicel. In microlethicel, there is a presence of very less amount of yolk. There is the very less amount of yolk, or in another sense it says as a not heavy amount of yolk. बहुत ज़्यादा amount में इसमें yolk नहीं होता. Micro means very less amount of yolk is there. And the third one it's a mesolecithal. तीसरा जो type है वो है mesolecithal. Meso means what? There is a medium amount of the yolk is there. Means depending upon the amount of yolk, this holoblastic phenomena is classified, that is the alacithal, microlacithal and the mesolacithal. Alacithal means yolk is not there, microlacithal very less amount of yolk is there, and mesolacithal means a medium amount of yolk is there. So, in case of the human, the cleavage which is occurred, that is a holoblastic. That's a holoblastic. Means here the entire egg it is divided. Entire egg is divided, which is divided from animal pole to vegetal pole. This pole it says as animal pole and this pole it says as the vegetal pole. So, there is a no issue about the complete division. Means the division of zygote, it is completely zygote, it's a completely divide. If the zygote it is completely divide, then it is says as the holoblastic. You can see here the zygote which is divide from animal pole to the vegetal pole. Entire zygote it's a divide. So that phenomena it says as the holoblastic. Says as holoblastic. I think so you understand up to this. As the cleavage division, this cleavage division it may be the longitudinal. It may be the longitudinal or it says as the meridional. Or this division it may be the equatorial or horizontal. The cleavage plane it may be the longitudinal and equatorial. It is a radial. It's a radial and indeterminate. That is a fate of each blastomere. It's not predetermined. It's not predetermined. As in the cleavage, there is a 3 subsequent stages is occurred. In the first cleavage, what happened in the first cleavage? The zygote it's a meridional. Means the zygote which is divided longitudinally. It's divided longitudinal from animal pole to vegetal pole and occurs at about 30 hours after fertilization. It occurs at about 30 hours after fertilization. It divides longitudinally and result is what? There is a formation of the 2 blastomeres. The daughter cell which is formed, that cells it says as a blastomere. Afterward, the second cleavage it's occurred. In the second cleavage is also the longitudinal, but it is the right angle to the first one. You can see here, this one is a right angle to the first one and it occurs after 30 hours after the first cleavage. It occurs after 30 hours after the first cleavage. The third cleavage is there. Again the third cleavage is there. What happened in the third cleavage? It's a horizontal division. You can see here, it's a horizontal division and the embryo which is developed, it is become the 8-cell structure. Embryo, it says as the 8-cell stage. While the cleavage occurs, it still continue. The young embryo, it is gradually pushed towards the uterus. ये जो embryo, young embryo, ये कहाँ पे आ पहुँचता है? फिर ये fallopian tube से होके ये isthmus तक आ पहुँचता है. As this cleavage, the cleavage phenomena, it's occurred in the fallopian tube. The young embryo, it is gradually pushed towards the uterus and by the end of the 4th day, what happened? At the end of the 4th day after fertilization, the embryo, it becomes solid ball. It becomes solid ball of 60 to 32 cells and externally looking like a little mulberry. And that stage, embryo, it says as the morula. It says as morula. Okay, so what's phenomena we see? The first cleavage, the zygote, it's a meridional and occurs at 30 hours after fertilization. It divides longitudinal and forms the two blastomeres. It's a slightly larger than the one is slightly larger than the other. As you can see, the first day, second day, there is a 2-cell blastomere. Then there is a formation of the 4-cell blastomere in the second cleavage. Then in the third cleavage, there is a formation of the 8-cell blastomere. 8-cell blastomere. Then in the third day, there is a formation of the 16, and in the fourth day, there is a formation of 16 to 32 cells of the blastomeres containing structure young embryo, and that structure it says as the morula. It says as morula. So you can see here again the first day, second day, fourth 4-cell stage blastomere, then the 8-cell, 8 to the 16-cell. In the fourth day, these blastomeres which in the isthmus region of the uterus. That structure it says as the morula. Says as morula. As in the second cleavage, the longitudinal but right angle to the first one and occurs after the 30 hours after first cleavage. In the third cleavage, it's a horizontal and it forms a 8-cell stage young embryo. As the young embryo which is gradually pushed towards the uterus, in the fourth day after fertilization, the embryo it becomes solid ball and contains the 16 to 32 cell. It's a look externally looking like a mulberry. That is called as the morula. So what about the structure of morula? Morula का structure क्या होता है फिर? It's a small clearer cell. ये कैसे cells है? The morula, it's a small clear cell which is towards the outer side. ये जो बाहर की cell होती है वो cell. That's a outer side cell. And the inner cell, this one is a inner cell. You can see here. This inner cell, it is a larger cell. The outer cell, it's a smaller cell, and the inner cell, it's a larger cell. But what is the significant phenomena in case of these cleavage? This outermost layer, it says as the zona pellucida. Outermost layer present around to the young embryo, it says as the zona pellucida. This zona pellucida, it is remain as it is around to the embryo. Thus, there is no change in the overall size of the zygote to the morula. zygote से लेके morula तक उसकी साइज में है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे कौन सी कवरिंग है? यहाँ पे है जोना पेल्यूसाइडा की कवरिंग. As the morula, this morula, it is reaches up to the isthmus region. ये कहाँ तक आता है morula? ये morula पहुँचता है isthmus के region तक. And this isthmus, it leads open seat into the uterus. As the morula, it is reach the isthmus and gain entry into the uterus by the end of the fourth day. By the end of fourth day. Okay. Hope so you understood it. Thanks for watching my video. Stay tuned to my channel. Thank you.